Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, coming to you with another garage ramblings or whatever video. I like making these every night, I work all day, film some Texas Gun Vault content for the main channel, or work on it, or go to the range or whatever. And then I like to talk casually about, guns or gun culture or gun politics. Things that I just can't flesh out into full videos on the main channel, or if I want to talk about a bunch of things, that would just be too rambly, essentially. And so I want to talk about a couple things tonight that are on my mind. I first want to talk about, I got a revolver to talk about here. And you guys are probably going to laugh when I tell you what I want to do with the range report on this one. But anyway, I want to talk about some of the gun control that looks like it's going to be voted on in the House and probably pass, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere in the Senate. And right now we got this big push because of all these tragedies that have happened. And of course, there's one party that's trying to capitalize on it, trying to essentially punish their political opponents. Let's just be very honest about that. That's the only reason the Democrats want to do it. They want to punish their political opponents and they want to disarm them. That's the real impetus and the real driving force behind their motivation. It's not to save lives. But let's talk about the gun control, because it's really interesting, because the media is talking about things, and the things that they're really pushing, and the president and the vice president are all trying to push, is assault weapons bans. But what it looks like the House is going to vote on has nothing to do with assault weapons bans, because they know America truly doesn't have an appetite for that. They all know it. It's such a big disconnect between what people say. If they truly believe that, what do they say, like 90% of Americans want assault weapons bans, well, then they'd have no problem voting on it in the House, especially the Democrat-controlled House. But they're not even going to bring it up for a vote because they know it's not going to pass, and they don't want to put their congressional members on the record voting for gun bans. So that's not going to happen. But then there's these other laws that they're wanting to pass. And I'll kind of talk about the ones that I read about. And believe it or not, there's actually one that I would be okay with. I know what you guys are thinking, like, what the heck is he talking about? There is no way the Texas Gun Vault, Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, the libertarian, would be able to say he can come to a compromise on a gun control bill with the Democrats. But you're going to hear me out on this one. Let's talk about the ones that I don't think are going to go anywhere. They might pass the House. They're going to be blocked in the Senate. One is a safe storage law. Essentially, that's already on the books. Essentially, it says if, or it's illegal to store a gun where a minor might be able to access it. Well, first of all, how do you enforce that? Unless you have cops just going to everyone's house randomly and just checking, well, they can't do that because, the Fifth Amendment and all that kind of fun stuff with illegal searches and seizures. It does nothing. And it's already illegal, or you would already be punished if you essentially gave or let a minor have access to a firearm and they used it in a crime. You're already liable for that. Okay, so that's already a law. So they'll vote on that, and it doesn't really do anything, I don't really think, if any of them, that might pass in the Senate, maybe, but I doubt it. Then we have one about that's really interesting that I really want to read. Actually, I should say, I did read the text, but I'm not sure how it conflicts or how it would deal with other regulations that are in place. I'm really perplexed by it. It's the Close the Bump Stock Loophole something Act or whatever. Now, why in the world would they be passing this law? Because bump stocks are already banned, right? I mean, everybody that had one destroyed one, right? Well, they're trying to pass a bump stock ban at the federal level to codify it into law, but here's the weird thing about it. It has an amnesty for those people in possession of a bump stock where you can register it with the National Firearms Act as a machine gun. Now, how does that conflict with the regulation of the banning of bump stocks already? So right now, bump stocks are illegal. They're banned. They're considered machine guns. But this law, if it's passed, has an amnesty for people with bump stocks to let them register it with the NFA. So is it like one of those where you can't have two things? Like, it's already banned, so if you register it, you're in trouble because you broke the law? I don't know. Or is it a true amnesty where they're like, okay, we know they're out there. We'll let you register them and keep them. Yeah, so you'll get to register and keep them. It's kind of weird. I know, it's weird. I'm kind of interested in that one because let's just be honest. We all know that there were 800,000 bump stocks that were sold, or they estimate, or even more than that, okay? Possibly in the millions, because they were never serialized or, and wouldn't they have like 12 turned in? I mean, let's just be honest. And I don't personally know or have ever heard of anybody destroying their bump stock, okay? So I have no idea. I'm not going to ask. It's a don't ask, don't tell thing. So I'm sure there were people that had them. I know I saw tons of them get sold at gun shows before, when they were legal. So I doubt they were destroyed. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure there's a lot of them out there. So I don't know. I just kind of want to know where's this going? Because I want to see what's going to happen and what legal scholars say that, yeah, if this bill is passed, will people register them? Will they be okay? I don't know. That one, believe it or not, I kind of would get behind, only because I don't think we're going to win in the federal courts to overturn the bump stock ban. I just don't think it's going to happen because you're having judges that essentially are like politicians that know nothing about guns saying, oh yeah, it's close to a machine gun, it's a machine gun, okay? So this might be the only way to actually, in a way, kind of open up the registry for machine guns, even though they would just be bump stocks. And kind of bring them back from the black market side to the white market side, I don't know. Interesting. I have to think about it more, and I need to see someone that's an actual lawyer speak about it, because they might be able to give insight and say, yeah, they passed that, but if you're in possession of one before you... Anyway, they'd have to let me know. Even though I'm against the law, because I think bump stocks should be legal, it's one of those that you go, well, at least it's actually be kind of a step in the right direction of making them more commonplace again. Then what else was? Oh yeah, the one that I would say that I could go for, but there's a caveat. You got to listen to me out on this one. There's a bill called the Raise the Age to 21 Act, or something of that nature. And that is where it would make all firearms or semi-automatic rifle purchases, you have to be 21, or all gun purchases to 21. I think there's two bills. And believe it or not, while I'm a libertarian, I could get behind this one. Okay, now let's talk about their reasonings first. They say, well, these tragedies have been perpetrated by these 18-year-old men, and honestly, yeah, that's true. Like these kids are 18. That their first moment of being able to buy a gun to do these horrific acts, they do it. But here's the caveat: I am fine with us raising that age only if all other adult activities that are age regulated become 21 as well. It's not right that we have a tiered system. It's not right that you could be 18 years old and vote, but you don't have the right to own a gun. You can go and die for your country. You're required by law to be registered for the draft at 18, and you can go die for your country carrying real machine guns, but you can't own a firearm here in your civilian life. That doesn't make any sense. So to me, if you want to make it 21, then let's make everything 21. Voting, alcohol, cigarettes, draft, holding office, you being legal as an adult. Heck, make the age of marrying and the age of consent 21 in all states. So you are an adult or you are not an adult. That's the way I feel about it. So if they agree that voting is 21 and up, well then, okay. Well, as a libertarian, I'm against it. I can kind of get behind it a little bit, if that makes any sense. Not that I would want it, but it's the one that I would concede on and go, okay, well, give me the voting at 21, because I don't think it's right that some 18-year-old can vote. They have no knowledge of the world. They've never paid taxes before. They've never done anything, and their vote is worth just as much as someone that has a greater stake in society. No. So that's one I could get behind. And I don't think any of these are going to pass the Senate. And then the other one was, of course, a high-capacity magazine. I think it's called the Safe Streets Act or something like that. Whatever. It won't pass the Senate. It might pass the House, maybe. I really see the 21 and up bill passing the House. I see the storage bill passing the House. I don't see the magazine ban passing the House. I think it'd be close, but all of this will die in the Senate. So that's my thoughts on the gun control bills. And I know maybe some of you guys are thinking I'm crazy, because I know there's some people that are, no. But I actually think we can win the gun rights fight by doing things the strategic way. Like I said, that bump stock thing, right now, guys, you look at the courts, as much as you want the Supreme Court or an appellate court to overturn the bump stock ban, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, okay? That is just too much of an uphill battle, okay? As much as I know the ban is unconstitutional, I know that ATF should not be creating regulations like that. They don't have the power to. We have to look at the feasibility of it, and it's not going to overturn. But if this law does what it says it does, that means people that are in possession of them would be able to register them. And that's one step, because now you don't have a whole bunch of black market firearms or guns that are unregistered or out there that people could potentially get in trouble with, even though they have no ill intent against anybody else, and bring them into a legal standard, bring them into a legal status. So that's a little win. And sometimes in order to win the larger war, you have to have little wins, and that might be one of them, though you kind of push the bar. And then once those bump stocks become on the legal side again, have a legal status, and they're able to be seen for what they are, a judge might be more likely to overturn the ban in the future. So that's the kind of thinking we need to have, the strategic thinking. And anyway, so that's my thoughts on all the gun control bills. Some people I know will disagree because it's all or nothing. It's repeal it all or nothing. And that's not feasible either. And I'm right there with you. That's where my heart is, okay? Remember, I always talk about there's a difference between the heart and the mind in the gun control debate. And my heart's there with you. I'm there with you. All gun laws are unconstitutional. But I also look at how you have to be smart and have to have planning to overturn the gun laws. You won't do it overnight. It's not going to happen by electing one president. You got to do it in piecemeal, because that's how we got here with gun control, in piecemeal. You got to do it in the opposite direction. So anyway, that's what my thoughts are on those bills. But now let's talk about this gun that I'm going to do a range report on, because it's going to be a completely different range report than you normally see. I have a little program when it comes to my range reports, what I do, the order of things I do, the things I talk about. And this is the Kimber K6 revolver. And I know when it came out years ago, it came out to great fanfare, because Kimber's a great company. This is the 357 Magnum revolver, little snub nose, very short grip. And I can tell you from handling it, it's a pretty darn high quality revolver. But I have never shot a gun at the range that was more unenjoyable than this gun. I think I shot 18 rounds with this gun, and I was done. I was done with it. It is about the least enjoyable, least fun firearm I have ever shot. And for me, it has little to no purpose. And I'll go into that more in the range report. But essentially, obviously, it's hammerless, so it's double action only, so it doesn't have that great of a pull. And for me, I don't shoot snub nose well. Now, some of you guys might shoot these little snub nose revolvers, great. And if you do, wonderful, I think it's awesome. I'm not saying that the gun's a piece of junk. I'm saying that this gun is really high quality. You can tell. I mean, the machine on it's nice. The fit and the finish is nice. It's a beautiful gun. I mean, Kimber does a great job. But shooting 357 Magnum out of this thing, it hurts. Man, this grip is small. I can only get, let's see if I can get on this side. I can only get 2 fingers on that thing. Short sight radius. I shoot snub nose terrible anyway. 2 fingers on 357 Magnum. It hurt. It hurt to shoot. It was no fun at all. 357 Magnum is just way too much for a small gun. Now, 38 Special was more manageable, but I don't know, with no hammer and I don't know. I believe there's a hammered version now, but man, I was just like, it's done. I mean, after I shot 38 and then 357, you'll see in the video, I just turn to the camera and go, ouch, that's it. I'm done. I'm not shooting this thing anymore. I had a couple rounds on target, and then I had 2 rounds. I have no idea where they went because of this trigger, and this gun hurts. So, yeah, it's terrible, in my opinion. Now, it's not a terrible gun, but I just did not enjoy shooting this. So I think I'm still going to do a range report on it. I'm not going to give it a rating because it's not fair. I didn't review it like my other guns that I normally show on the channel. And I'm just going to have a discussion about it. What do you guys think? Is that fair? I'm going to call it a range report, but I think I'm going to call it a range report discussion because I'll show the 3, videos I have of me shooting this and just going, ouch. Man, I just don't see the point in it. I would not want to carry this thing because it has such limited capacity. If it was loaded with 357 Magnum, I mean, it's gonna hurt me as much as it hurts somebody else on the receiving end of this thing. It'll blind you because it's really flashy. It's loud. It's going to make you deaf. And possibly, if you're under stress, you could lose control of this gun. I mean, it is not fun to shoot with only that, 2 fingers on that grip. Man, I hated it. As I said, it doesn't mean this is a crappy gun, okay? It's obviously a well-built gun. But for me, man, it has almost nothing that I like. And I didn't want to shoot it and do a full range report on it because it was that unenjoyable. So I'm going to have a range report discussion. What do you guys think about that? Let me know before I film it. I might film it tomorrow. So depending on what you guys say tonight, I might go in a different direction. But I want to do a range report discussion on the Kimber K6 and how unenjoyable this gun is and how much I hated shooting it. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, especially on the gun control stuff and what I should do on the range report on this one. So as always, thanks for listening to me ramble, and thanks for watching.